Israel is accused of violating the ceasefire recently agreed upon with Hamas just days ago. On Tuesday, October 14th, reports from Gaza claimed that at least 7 Palestinians were killed after Israeli forces opened fire in the Sujah area, east of Gaza City. The victims were reportedly civilians, not militants, people simply trying to return home after a brief moment of calm following the truce. But that calm didn't last long. Gunfire erupted suddenly, shattering the silence of the afternoon and reigniting a conflict that was far from over. According to Middle East media sources, Israeli troops fired from a watchtower along the border. The military later stated the shots were aimed at individuals allegedly crossing into a restricted zone. Israel's official response framed the action as a security precaution, though no evidence of infiltration was found. Eyewitnesses described the attack as unprovoked. Some victims still carried personal belongings. Images shared on social media showed chaotic scenes, residents running through narrow alleys, evacuating the wounded in private cars as ambulances failed to reach the area. Humanitarian groups condemned the incident as a serious breach of international law and a clear violation of the truce meant to ease tensions after months of bombardment. Hamas spokesperson Hazim Hashim accused Israel of betraying the agreement signed under international mediation. He urged the global community to hold Israel accountable and demand compliance with the ceasefire. The situation in Gaza is once again on edge, and the world is watching closely to see if this fragile truce will collapse as quickly as it was declared. Hours after the Sujah shooting, another explosion shook eastern Khan Younis. An Israeli military drone reportedly launched an airstrike, killing 1 Palestinian and injuring several others. Local witnesses said the drone flew low before firing a missile at a residential area in Al-Fukari. There were no warnings or sirens beforehand. The blast tore through the neighborhood, setting homes ablaze and sending people running in panic. Families rushed to rescue loved ones trapped under the rubble as thick black smoke covered the sky. By nightfall, the Israeli Defense Forces had issued no official statement regarding the attack. However, several media outlets reported that the target was allegedly linked to resistance activities in southern Gaza. No independent verification supported that claim. Human rights organizations quickly condemned the strike, labeling it a severe breach of the ceasefire agreement, which explicitly prohibited all forms of air assaults and military operations. Gaza's health ministry confirmed 1 fatality and 4 injuries, including 2 children. Hospitals in Khan Younis were soon overwhelmed as ambulances carried the wounded through debris-covered streets. Medical volunteers described the scene as chaotic: flames, sirens, and the sound of drones circling overhead. They warned that the ceasefire meant nothing if civilians continued to die. Analysts say Israel's silence is a deliberate tactic, waiting to gauge international reaction before making a public statement. With 2 incidents in one day, trust in the truce has eroded sharply. The attacks have sparked renewed fears that Gaza is slipping back into full-scale war. For the mediators who brokered this fragile peace, this could be the breaking point, the moment when diplomacy collapses and violence once again takes control. Hamas reacted swiftly and harshly to both deadly incidents. In an official statement, spokesman Hazim Hashim condemned Israel's actions as a flagrant violation of the ceasefire agreement, brokered only days earlier. He declared that Israel had never shown a genuine commitment to peace and was deliberately provoking new hostilities. In a televised address broadcast across Gaza, Hashim stated, "Every bullet fired at our people proves that Israel never intended to honor the truce." The message resonated across the region, reinforcing public anger and suspicion that the peace deal was doomed from the start. Hamas urged the United Nations, the Arab League, and mediating nations such as Egypt and Qatar to pressure Israel into full compliance. The group demanded an independent investigation under the UN Security Council, citing evidence of civilian casualties and potential breaches of humanitarian law. Human rights organizations, including Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch, condemned the attacks, calling them indefensible acts against civilians. Global outrage intensified as videos of the aftermath spread online, showing children being pulled from debris. Diplomatic responses were divided. Turkey, Iran, and Malaysia issued formal condemnations, accusing Israel of sabotaging peace efforts. Turkey's foreign ministry urged the world not to stay silent while ceasefire agreements become tools for continued aggression. In Europe, lawmakers in the UK and Spain called for inquiries into Israel's use of military force. Meanwhile, the United States and the European Union expressed deep concern, but stopped short of direct criticism. Analysts said the slow Western reaction further weakened trust in international diplomacy. As pressure mounts, Hamas warns it may withdraw from the ceasefire entirely, leaving Gaza once again on the brink of all-out war. The situation on the ground in Gaza has deteriorated rapidly. After the twin incidents in Sujaa and Khan Younis, entire neighborhoods now live under a state of constant tension. Air raid sirens echo through the nights, while families huddle in darkness fearing another strike. Homes repaired after the last round of bombings have been reduced to rubble again. Electricity is available only a few hours a day, and clean water has become a scarce commodity after pipelines were damaged by artillery fire. International aid agencies report a new wave of displacement. Hundreds of families are fleeing southern Gaza, searching for safety that no longer exists. Schools have turned into makeshift shelters, their classrooms packed with mattresses and crying children. Relief workers describe a landscape of exhaustion, families sleeping on cold floors, unsure if they will wake to another explosion. The constant buzz of Israeli drones overhead keeps the population in a state of anxiety that never fades. Hospitals are overwhelmed. Medical staff work double shifts without basic supplies, saline, bandages, even fuel for generators. The director of Khan Younis General Hospital says they are operating on fumes. Humanitarian convoys are stuck at checkpoints, unable to deliver medicine or food. The Red Cross warns that Gaza's healthcare system is on the verge of total collapse if hostilities resume. Local media show haunting images: children searching for relatives in ruins, mothers weeping beside collapsed homes, and plumes of smoke still rising over the skyline. For civilians, the ceasefire has become a cruel illusion. Between shattered walls and sleepless nights, Gazans question whether peace is merely another word the world uses while looking away. The alleged ceasefire violation in Gaza has become a crucial test of international diplomacy. Analysts argue the fragile truce, celebrated as a breakthrough, now exposes the weakness of peace deals without real enforcement. Each pause in fighting ends the same way, with mutual accusations and new casualties. This week's evidence, supported by eyewitness footage and humanitarian reports, reveals that civilians once again paid the highest price. Middle East observers call the conflict a war without closure. Israel insists its actions protect national security. Hamas claims resistance against occupation. Between these narratives lie millions trapped in a cycle of fear and destruction. Entire families have lost homes, livelihoods, and faith in the idea of peace. Global pressure on Israel is rising, yet concrete action remains elusive. Western allies express concern but stop short of sanctions, while regional powers push for accountability. The failure of the international community to uphold its own resolutions is eroding public trust worldwide. Diplomacy appears paralyzed, and humanitarian law feels more symbolic than binding. At the same time, Hamas uses this crisis to strengthen its political grip in Gaza, portraying Israel's strikes as proof that negotiation is futile. With every attack, global outrage grows, but so does despair. The ceasefire that once promised relief now stands as a reminder of broken commitments and empty signatures. The world faces a simple, haunting question: how many more ceasefires must collapse before peace becomes more than a headline? For Gaza civilians, hope flickers between explosions, and the promise of safety fades once again into smoke and silence.